All right, welcome everybody once again to Pause with Phil. I am Philip Boyce. I am a peer support specialist at the Recovery Center here in Wilkesboro, R3 Recovery Center. And again, I'm glad that you're here to join Pause with Phil. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Something we'd like to do as we open up, we'll let some folks go ahead and hopefully join in here with us. So I'm pulling up my screen here. Uh, Once again, I'm Philip. I'm a peer support specialist at the R3 Recovery Center. This is practicing the pause. So I hope everybody's having a good Wellness Wednesday so far. I was looking out the window and I kind of heard some rumbling in the background. So it sounds like maybe there's a storm that's approaching, which is nice. Yeah, we can use the rain. It's been really dry lately, but it's good to be here and be able to practice the pause. And maybe you're looking forward to this time. I look forward to this time. It's kind of where you can quiet and center yourself. And to begin with, normally we start with a breathing exercise, breathing technique, and we're going to do that again today. But I'd like to explain a little bit as to why we do this here. I've got my tea here, and if you've watched this before, I like to drink my teas. Kind of helps me to relax and to settle myself. I found some teas that can really help with anxiety and stress, and so I like to drink those as I get started. And this breathing exercise, this breathing technique that I was just talking about, we do this because it's a thing called mindfulness. Have you ever heard of mindfulness? And mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present. That's what we want to do right here with this time. We want to be right here, right now. We want to be where we are, right here in the present, and not for our minds to go wandering off into the future or reflecting so much in the past, but we want to be right here, right now, in the present. And so, by practicing mindfulness, it can really help. It can help with all walks of our life. And so, mindfulness is this basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. So we want to be right here, right now. We want to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing. And it's not about being all in your head. You can practice mindfulness by just sitting down. And I invite you right now to find a nice, quiet place that you can settle. You can turn off those distractions, and you can just be right here in this present moment. We don't want to be all up in our head. We just want to be present right here in the moment, and we want to practice this mindfulness. We can do that by finding a nice, quiet place to sit down. And as we begin this meditative practice here in just a moment, and we want to become more intentional and aware of the things that we do each day. That's what mindfulness helps us to do. And so, even as I drink tea, as I pour that tea, I want to be aware of myself pouring that tea. I don't want to be distracted, thinking about anything else except for that pouring of the tea. And so, we can practice mindfulness doing all the sorts of activities. And meditation, these practices that we do here as we begin practicing the pause, it can help us to focus on mindfulness. Nearly every task that we perform in a day, be it maybe brushing our teeth or eating lunch or talking with friends or exercising, can be done more mindfully. It's good when we're talking with somebody. We're not on our phone. We're not distracted or doing something else, but we're fully engaged to what that person is saying. We're right there in the moment. How frustrating it is when we're talking with somebody and it seems like they're not there. They're not there in the conversation. They're elsewhere. They're either on their phone or they're doing something else. How does that make us feel? Not very good. I wouldn't think. So Mindfulness can help us in all these daily activities, whether it's brushing our teeth or eating lunch or talking with friends or exercising. All these can be done more mindfully, even with me pouring my tea. And if you've watched some of these in the past, I like to do that each time. I like to have my tea. I like to light a candle, and it helps me to get into the state of being that I want to be in. Right, this present, mindful state of being. When we are mindful of our actions, we pay more attention to what we are doing. It's the opposite of just going through the motions. Instead, we're tuned in to our senses and we're noticing our thoughts and emotions. And so, by building mindfulness into our daily life, we can practice mindfulness even when we're too busy to meditate. Like I said, it could be doing chores around the house or whatever type of activity where you can just be fully present in the moment. When we're too busy to meditate, we might be doing other things. We can be mindful of what we're doing. We can bring that awareness to what we're doing. But here we like to begin with meditation. And I hope that you have found that quiet place where you can free yourself from distraction, that you can get comfortable. And I invite you now to find that comfortable place and sit up straight. Be mindful of your posture there. And, it helps when you're starting meditation, maybe to even set a time or a timer. You can set an amount of time of how long you're going to practice meditation. If you don't have that timer or whatever it might be, uh, you might be obsessing about deciding when to stop. But when you have a timer, a lot of folks, with these meditations, they'll use a bell or a bowl. I've heard different sounds to kind of, to stop the meditation. And so if you're just beginning with this, and meditation is a practice, if you're just beginning meditation, it can help to choose a short time. Some folks think they've got to do it for this long period of time that they're not really meditating if they don't do it for a long period of time. Well, you've got to work up to it, just like anything else, whether it's exercise, running, or whatever the case may be. You gradually build up to those things. Same thing with meditation. Meditation is a practice, and that's why I love this title here, practicing the pause. It's a practice. It's something that you'll progress in. And so, if you're just beginning meditation, it can help to choose a short time, such as 5 or 10 minutes. And eventually you can build up to twice as long, twice as long. Then maybe even up to 45 minutes or an hour. And if you're just beginning meditation, you might be thinking, wow, that's a long time there. 45 minutes, an hour to meditate. I had the same thoughts, and a lot of folks do when they begin meditation. They'll never be able to sit still that long or meditate that long, and that's okay. When you're beginning meditation, 5 to 10 minutes is perfectly fine. And so you want to take yourself where you are, and you want to show yourself grace, and uh, and so it might be helpful to use that kitchen timer or some other timer, perhaps maybe a timer on your phone. Many people do a session in the morning and in the evening, so you can even break it up, from the morning or evening, or maybe some other time is better in your day. If you feel like your life is just real busy and you have just a little bit of time, doing some is better than none. So if you can just, maybe even just breaking it up, 5 minutes here or 10 minutes there, morning or night, doing some is better than doing none. And so when you get a little bit of space and time, then you can gradually do a little bit more. And so I invite you right now. Hopefully you found that good spot. Maybe it's a place in your home. Maybe you got this place in mind where uh, you can free yourself from distractions. And I hope that you have a place now as we begin to practice this. But I hope that you can find that good, quiet place there. Maybe it's inside your home. Ideally, where there's not too much clutter. If you got a lot of stuff laying around and all that, that can be a distraction. That's why I invite us when we get into this time to free yourself from those distractions, whether it's phone or TV. just go ahead and cut those things off. Free yourself from distraction or any type of clutter that might distract you, and then find that quiet. Find that quiet. That's really going to help you to get into that meditative state. And you might hear, I've got a little bit of this quiet music there in the background. That really helps. So maybe you have some of those resources there where you are. And it's a good tip to leave the lights on and sit in natural light. And I believe they suggest that because sometimes when you're really getting relaxed, it can be easy just to kind of nod off. When I began meditation, I could feel myself kind of drifting off into sleep because I was so relaxed. And so it's good to keep the lights on. Some folks when they meditate, they kind of really want to get into a relaxed state, and some will even want to lie down. Well, I don't suggest that. I suggest sitting up, because if not, it's easy just to doze off. So make sure you keep the lights on there, and it's even good to maybe even sit in natural light. Maybe you got a place like on a porch. I've got a porch here, and I like this hammock, but it's good to stay upright if you're going to use a hammock or something like that. Make sure that you're sitting up, because it is easy to doze off when you get in this relaxed state here. And you can even use that natural light. Sit outside if you'd like, but choose a place with little distraction. With little distraction, we want to minimize the distraction if possible there. So you can begin this posture practice. It's a posture. A lot of times you'll see somebody sitting on the floor. They've got their spine upright. Maybe they've got their hands, and I used to do something there with my hands that really helped. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but I put my thumbs together there, and then I put my index fingers together, and I don't know, it just kind of helped with just my hands there, and I'd kind of place them right there by my belly there, and I don't know, just whatever feels comfortable to you. Really, that's the one of the main tips I've heard with meditation is just get comfortable. You don't want to be too rigid, whatnot, but just relaxed. You're relaxed in a good spot there. And so we begin this posture practice, being mindful of our posture. What is our back doing? How's it feeling? How's our body feeling? What are we doing with our hands? This is a posture practice, and it can be used at the beginning stage of a period of meditation practice. You just want to be mindful of your posture, or simply as something to do for a minute. You want to be just mindful of how your body's feeling, how you're sitting, what your hands are doing. And to do this is really to stabilize yourself. You're looking at your posture to stabilize yourself and find a moment of relaxation before going into this meditation here. And so as you're doing this posture practice, maybe you're noticing that you have some injuries or other physical difficulties, and you can modify this practice to suit your situation. So if you got back pain or whatever it is, maybe you want to use a comfortable pillow, or there's even a walking meditation. Maybe it feels better, instead of sitting, for you to do standing meditation. That works too. So just be mindful there of any injuries or physical difficulties, something that might arise, as you're being aware of your posture as you're doing this posture practice. All right, so now hopefully you've got that good spot that you're sitting upright. You're in a comfortable place there, and it's good to do a sitting meditation. And if you are doing a sitting meditation, you can use a chair, or they also make a meditative cushion that you can sit on, or maybe it's a park bench. Maybe you're outside and you're watching this. Uh, Whatever spot that gives you a stable solid seat, not perching or hanging back. Whatever you need, a solid seat. And we want to be grounded here. We want to be aware of what our body is and how it's feeling, and what we're doing here. So check your posture there. Check how you're sitting, but just make sure that you're comfortable there. All right, notice what your legs are doing. All right, if you're on a cushion on the floor, you might want to cross your legs comfortably in front of you. If you already do some kind of seated yoga posture, go ahead and do that. If you're on a chair, it's good if the bottoms of your feet are touching the floor. Like I said, it's good for grounding purposes. And this is just to bring awareness to what our body is doing here. You want to straighten yourself. That's why I invite you to sit up tall. There, sit up straight, straighten yourself, but don't stiffen your upper body. You want to be loose, all right? You want to feel relaxed. You want to feel loose. The spine has natural curvature, doesn't it? Spine has natural curvature, so just let it be there. Let it do what the spine does. That natural curvature. And your head and your shoulders can comfortably rest on top of your vertebrae. Like I said, the main thing is we want to be comfortable where you're at. You can situate your upper arms parallel to your upper body. And then let your hands drop on top of your legs. Like I said, sometimes I'll use that, whatever feels comfortable. Maybe you just want to place your hands on top of your legs there. With your upper arms at your sides, your hands will land in the right spot. So if you just relax, if you just let the body do what it does, it'll find that natural relaxing posture and placement for your hands. Uh, Too far forward, if your hands are too far forward, right, on your legs, you might hunch. And so you want to try to avoid doing that. And if your hands are too far back, you might stiffen. So just let your hands just kind of fall, do what they're going to do. And you want to just tune the strings of your body, not too tight and not too loose. All right, now you want to be mindful of what your chin's doing. You want to just kind of drop your chin a little and let your gaze fall gently forward. You may even let your eyelids lower. It's good. That's something that I like to do is just let my eyelids lower and close there as I go into this meditative uh, uh, technique here. If you feel the need, you may even lower them completely. You might completely shut your eyes there, but it's not necessary to close your eyes when meditating. Whatever's comfortable for you. You can simply let what appears before your eyes be there. Just try avoid not focusing on it. You can simply just let what appears before your eyes be there without focusing on it. Just be there for a few moments. Let's relax. Let's bring your attention to your breath. That's what we're going to do here now. So we've been mindful of our posture, of relaxing here. We want to be mindful of our breath. And so I invite you now, here at this time, go ahead and take a good in breath there. Nice and steady, smooth in breath. And then release with the out breath. As I've said before in the past, if you've got a lot of stress, go ahead and as you're breathing in, go ahead and breathe in goodness, positivity, that everything's okay. Right now, you're practicing the pause. You're doing the best for yourself. You're practicing self-care. Go ahead and breathe that in with the in breath. And then as you breathe out, go ahead and release whatever that stress, that tension, whatever you've been carrying. Maybe it's a comment that somebody said to you. Maybe it's a duty or obligation or some deadline that you're trying to meet there at work. Go ahead and breathe that out. Breathe out that stress. Breathe out that heaviness that you've been carrying. And then let's just be mindful of our breath. We want to stay focused on our breath. As you're breathing in, be aware that you're breathing in. As you're breathing out, be aware that you're breathing out. And let's just try to get to that steadiness there in our breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe you want to even count. Maybe that'll help you with the breath as you're focusing on your breath. Maybe you want to do a 5 count or a 6 count on your breath. Maybe as you breathe in, you could do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on the out breath, maybe you want to do a 7 or 8 on the out breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, if that helps you with your breath, continue to do that. Maybe you want to switch up the counts there. As long as it's going to help you be mindful of your breath, mindful of what you're doing. Breathing in, breathing out. like I said before, so I've seen it as a circular motion. When I was doing a meditative practice, I had that intuition of everything was a circular motion there. The in breath as you breathe in, and then out breath as you breathe out. Back in breath, out breath. As I said, if it helps you do the count, stay with that count. As long as you're being mindful of your breath and you're not being in your head, creating a story, creating a thought, creating a narrative, and you're not following down that thought because that's going to take you out to somewhere else. We want to stay present. And so being mindful of our breathing helps us to stay present. That's what we want to do when we're breathing here. Be mindful of what you're doing. Be mindful of your breath. If you feel your thoughts are going out and that you're creating a story or narrative, you feel like your mind is wandering, try to catch yourself. Notice that your mind is doing what it's doing. Its energy is always at play. It wants to attach itself to that thought, but come back to your breath, realizing that's what we're doing here now is we're being mindful of our breath. And so you can come back to your breath. Anytime that your thoughts start to wander, uh, come back to your breath. Tell yourself, I'm focusing on my breath. I'm going back to my breath, being present with the breath. And just stay with your breath. Stay here in the present and now. So, really bring your attention to your breath. Feel your breath. As some say, follow it. Follow your breath. We want to hold on to it. In breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Follow it as it goes out and as it goes in. Some versions of this practice put more emphasis on the out breath. And for the in breath, you simply leave a spacious pause, practicing the pause. As you breathe out, you can let go of those stress, let go of those worries, let go of those deadlines, let go of those comments, some of that negativity that might have been said to you. Let it out. And then for the in breath, you simply leave a spacious pause. Release on the out breath. Draw your attention to the physical sensation of breathing, the air moving through your nose or mouth, the rising and falling of your belly or your chest. Choose your focal point. With each breath, you can mentally note breathing in and breathing out. If you're closing your eyes, that focal point might be right there at the center as you breathing in, breathing out. Maybe there's something in the room or something where you can fix your gaze. It can be steady right there in front of you. Maybe it's this picture there that's in the back of my screen. It's a focal point. Whatever's going to help you to stay kind of centered, stay grounded, and mindful of your breath. Continue to take those in breaths and out breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Being aware of our breath, being aware that our mind likes to wander, it likes to play. It's inevitably going to do that. Your attention will leave the breath and wander off to other places. Don't worry. There's no need to block or eliminate thinking. A lot of folks think that meditation is about not thinking, and they try to focus on not thinking. Well, then they're thinking about not thinking. It serves no purpose. Right? We want to be mindful of our breath. We want to be mindful of our breath. We know that the mind's going to wander. We want to bring it back to the breath. So if your mind does that, don't worry. It's doing what the mind does. No need to block or eliminate thinking. When you get around to noticing your mind wandering in a few seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, just gently return your attention to the breath. Practice pausing before making any physical adjustments. So, I might feel like, I'm just uncomfortable. I want to move. Just practice pausing before you do that. Practice pausing before making any physical adjustments. such as moving your body or scratching an itch. Just pause. With intention, shift at a moment you choose, allowing space between what you experience and what you choose to do. So if I feel like an ache or an itch that I want to itch, just practice that pause before you do it. You're mindful of it, you're aware of it, but just practice that pause before you choose to do anything about it. And you might even find your mind wandering constantly. This is common there, especially with beginning uh, this meditative mindfulness practice here. You may find your mind wandering constantly. That's normal too. Instead of wrestling with or engaging with those thoughts as much, practice observing without needing to react. So I can just notice that that's what my mind is doing. Instead of wrestling with it or engaging with those thoughts as much, just practice observing without needing to react. Just sit and pay attention. As hard as it is to maintain, that's all there is. Come back over and over again without judgment or expectation. And I used to talk with several folks as they were beginning meditation. They said, they had problems just being still, being in the moment. Their mind was so used to being engaged and stimulated with all sorts of things like TV or, talking, a conversation. They had problems just being in the moment, just being still. So just notice that. Notice that it's causing you some challenges, causing some difficulty, but just stay with it. Come back over and over again without judgment or expectation. All right, well, there's some tips there for meditation. So when you're ready, just gently lift your gaze. If your eyes are closed, slowly open them. Slowly come back. Take a moment and notice any sounds in the environment around you. Notice how your body feels right now. Notice your thoughts and emotions. Pausing for a moment, decide how you'd like to continue on with your day. And that's it. That's the practice. It's often been said that it's very simple, but it's not necessarily easy. Maybe you are thinking that right now. The work is just to keep doing it. It's a practice, practicing the pause, and results will accrue. All right. I hope you feel better after that. I know I always do. It always helps to practice the pause there. Let me get to this screen here. And now I'd like to do what we were doing some last week. We'll get through some of these here. If you've been missing some of these, you can go back and they're on YouTube. They're uploaded on YouTube. Make sure you check those out. Like and subscribe to the page there. We're looking at wellness here for practicing the pause. We opened up with that mindfulness technique. Hopefully, you all really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed doing it. It always helps my day. All right, so now I'd like to look at this self-assessment tool. And this helps us to look at these different dimensions of wellness. Here we look at Samsha's, I always call it Samsha's, uh, 8 dimensions of wellness. And so the first one was emotional wellness. We talked about that a little bit last time. And so, what's good about these videos being uploaded on YouTube is you can always go back and kind of check off and see, are you growing? Are you progressing? Are you improving with some of these dimensions here, like this emotional wellness? We talked about it some a couple weeks ago. And we also talked about the next one as well, and that is environmental wellness. So, like I said, you can go back and you can look at some of these and kind of see, are you improving in some of these areas? Maybe you want to jot down some ideas and say, you know what, I'd really like to get better, in this one dimension. And as I've said in the past, if you begin making improvements in one dimension, a lot of times, since these are interdependent, they will help with another dimension as well. For example, if I go for a walk in the woods, that can be an environment, right? I'm changing my environment. Uh, I'm seeking out ways to improve the social environment where I live. Even sometimes when I go walking in the woods, I might find some trash. I might pick it up. I might clear off a bridge if it's got some leaves on it. I'm contributing towards making my environment a safer and healthier place. And so when I go out for a walk in the woods, I can look at my environmental wellness, which I'm also exercising, so that's physical wellness. When I go out into the woods, I can clear my mind, and that can be emotional wellness. And so all these you can see are interdependent just by going out for a walk in the woods. We talked about intellectual wellness some last time, and you can go back, and like I said, and you can kind of evaluate yourself. But as I go through these evaluations, I just want us to have a good understanding, a better idea of what some of these dimensions cover. All right, so I'd like for us to look at occupational wellness now. That's getting personal fulfillment from your job or academic pursuits. Are you being personally fulfilled from your occupation? Uh, the occupational wellness looks at getting personal fulfillment from your job or academic pursuits. Maybe you're going to school so that you can, really have this personal fulfillment about what you want to do for a career or job. So, occupational wellness is getting personal fulfillment from your job or academic pursuits and contributing to knowledge and skills while maintaining a work life balance. That's a key word there for wellness is balance. We'll start seeing that more and more as we go through wellness is balance. Are you maintaining a work life balance? Here for occupational wellness, the first question here, and if I hope that you have a piece of paper that's close by. If not, you can go and get one right quick. Uh, and like I said, these will be uploaded as well onto YouTube, so you can always do this later. But it's good to do it now, I believe, right here in the moment. But this is an evaluation that looks at the different dimensions, and as we go through these different dimensions, by doing these evaluations, it gives us a better understanding about what each dimension really entails. All right, so the first question here for occupational wellness, and as I ask these questions, first go ahead and you can on that piece of paper you can write down. Go ahead and number the paper 1 through 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and next to these numbers, uh, we can write down a number next to it. 1 for never, 2 for rarely, 3 for sometimes, and for uh, 4 for usually. All right. So, and we'll total these up there at the end. All right. So, for occupational wellness, the first question is this: I get personal satisfaction and enrichment from work. I get personal satisfaction and enrichment from work. 1 is never, 2 is rarely, 3 is sometimes, 4 is usually. Are you getting personal satisfaction and enrichment from your work? And why do you think this is important? It's good to ask these questions, but it's good to also ask, well, why do this? Why is this important? Especially for recovery. I read somewhere before that purpose and meaning is powerful empowerment. Therefore, recovery. That's good to have that purpose and meaning. To have that, as you go along this recovery journey. And so maybe that is why some of these questions are asked. Are you getting personal satisfaction and enrichment from work? Go ahead and write down a number next to that as you reflect on that question. 1 is for never, 2 is for rarely, 3 is for sometimes, 4 is for usually. All right. Question number 2. I believe that I am able to contribute my knowledge, skills, and talents at work. Do you feel like that? Do you feel that you're able to contribute your knowledge and skills and talents at your work? Go ahead and put a number next to that. 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, usually. That you're able to contribute your knowledge, skills, and talents at work. 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, usually. All right. Question number 3. I seek out opportunities to improve my knowledge or skills. I seek out opportunities to improve my knowledge or skills. 1 is never. 2 is rarely. 3 is sometimes. 4 is usually. There's different ways that we can improve our knowledge or skills, whether it be certifications, maybe it's going to college and taking some classes, and what's so cool right now, what we're offering at the R3 Recovery Center is we can help folks to pursue these things. And so maybe you're answering some of these questions and you don't feel like you're getting personal satisfaction or enrichment from work. Maybe you feel like you're not contributing knowledge or skills or talents at work. Maybe you feel like that there's something else that you want to pursue. And so we can help with that at the R3 Recovery Center. We can help with getting you into the right doors, making those connections, and really finding out what your passions are and be able to work towards that. And so maybe if that's something that you are really thinking about, and you'd like to do, come over there and see us at the R3 Recovery Center. We'd love to help you out with that. We'd love to explain a little bit more about how we can go about doing that. And so, like I said, as you're answering some of these questions, if you're answering, maybe you're getting some ones and twos there. That's okay. There's other avenues that we can explore. We can help with that. We can help with that. So, question number 3 says, seeking out opportunities to improve knowledge or skills, whether it might be a trade or maybe just learning what's needed there for a particular position, career, or job. It's seeking out those opportunities. And like I said, us there at the R3 Recovery Center, we can help with that. You come on by and talk with some of us there, and we'll try to help you with that. All right. So what'd you get? Next number 3. Did you already write down the number? Seek out opportunities to improve your knowledge or skills. 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, usually. Question number 4. I balance my social life and job responsibilities well. Do you balance your social life and job responsibilities well? Does it seem like it's one's higher than the other? Does it seem like you're always working or you're always hanging out with others? Does it kind of seem like it's unbalanced? Do you balance your social life and job responsibilities well? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, usually. Question number 5. I effectively handle my level of stress related to work responsibilities. How effective are you with handling your stress related to your work responsibilities? Seems like you're always stressed out. Are you always taking work home? So when you leave work, are you always talking about work? Are you always working on something outside from work? Are you taking that home with you? How well are you at effectively handling your level of stress related to work responsibilities? And that can even be about talking about it with some folks, about having the right support system around you. How do you handle your stress levels related to your work responsibilities? How effectively are you handling your level of stress related to work responsibilities? 1, never. 2, rarely. 3, sometimes. 4, usually. All right, question number 6. My workload is manageable. Manageable. That's another key word there for wellness. Balance and manageability. 2 key words for wellness. How is your workload? Is your workload manageable? Next to question number 6, write down a number. 1, never. 2, rarely. 3 sometimes, 4 usually. How's your workload? Is it manageable? Are you doing a good job of managing it? 1 never, 2 rarely, 3 sometimes, 4 usually. All right, question number 7. Last question here for this occupational wellness dimension that we'll look at today. Question number 7. Explore paid and or volunteer opportunities that interest me. Are you exploring other opportunities that interest you, whether they be paid or volunteer? It's good to be out there in the community and doing what interests us, whether it's paid or volunteer. Do you explore those opportunities that interest you? 1 never, 2 rarely, 3 sometimes, 4 usually. All right, next to those questions, 1 through 7, you've got a number there. Go ahead and add those up. This is just for your uh, personal reference there. As we go along, as we continue to go back to these, you can see if some of these areas have improved. Maybe you've got some ideas and you just want to jot those down. Maybe something just really stuck out to you as we've been doing this evaluation. You want to say, yes, I want to get better at doing this. I want to explore this. I want to pursue this. Maybe it was when I brought up about those opportunities that we present there at the R3 Recovery Center about certifications and maybe going back to college, or maybe it's getting your GED. Maybe something of those along those lines that we can help. We can personally help you with there at the R3 Recovery Center. And so maybe that's an idea for you that you just want to jot down on that piece of paper. Go see the folks there at R3 Recovery Center to help me with a certification, to help me get signed up for a class, whatever the case may be. That might be an idea that was brought to mind uh, that as we've been going along through this evaluation. All right, that was occupational wellness, one dimension out of the 8 for wellness. All right, now I'm gonna get to this other screen here. And here you see wellness is a journey. Wellness is a journey. It's about progression. It's about practicing these things, getting better at looking at the quality of our life. Wellness is a journey. It is a journey. We continually want to move towards wellness. And if you've looked at some of these classes here in the past, you'll have seen a what's called a wellness continuum. We're either going 2 directions there. We're either moving away from wellness or we're moving towards wellness. And so by looking at those evaluations each time, like I said, we've covered some of emotional wellness. We've looked at environmental wellness. We've looked at intellectual wellness. And we just looked at occupational wellness. And by familiarizing ourselves with what those dimensions really look like, what they entail, I think it helps us to kind of see where we're at in life on this wellness journey. If we're either moving towards wellness or we're moving away from wellness. So wellness is a journey. Bob Dylan, the famous singer, folk singer, says that he not busy being born is busy dying. I really like that quote. I see every day as a new day. It's a new day, one that I haven't experienced yet. Do you look at life like that? Do you look at your days like that? That today is a new day. It's a new day for whether, like we are just looking at occupational wellness. Maybe it's a new day to learn, uh, a new day to pursue, maybe a new day to go and look at what it'll take for certification. Each day is new. He not busy being born is busy dying. Like I said, this is a journey, either going towards wellness or going away from wellness. He not busy being born is busy dying. What's your thoughts on that quote? Maybe you want to put those there in the chat section in the comment box. What's your thought on that quote? How do you feel like you're doing with that? Are you moving towards wellness or away? Maybe you're kind of the same boat that I was when I began looking at wellness. I just didn't know a lot about it. I'm still learning. And so what I like to do each week is while I learn these things, I like to share them with you. I like for us to be learning these things at the same time. And wellness is just so cool. I've really enjoyed learning more about wellness, and I've seen it take shape and take root in my own life. I've seen changes being brought about just by me learning this information and putting some of it into practice. Wellness is never a static state. It's never static. It just doesn't just stay the same. It's not static. You don't just get well or stay well. It can take work and effort to dig down deep and discover what our true needs are. What our true needs are. Life is really about cause and effect. There's a cause and effect to what we do. What I do or I don't do, that's cause or effect. That's these 8 dimensions that we explore. Wellness is not simply the absence of disease. And when I first thought about wellness, I thought about diet and exercise. I really just thought about health, like the physical, wellness. That's part of it. That's one of the dimensions, but there's so much more, so much more. So wellness is not simply the absence of disease. Uh, uh, it also looks at our emotional states, and that's something that I found in recovery is a lot of times we can get on these emotional roller coasters, these highs and lows. Uh, Emotional states often set the stage of physical disease. Did you know that? There's been more research being done now, and we've talked about this in the past about stress. Stress can often lead to emotional disease. When we think about stress, we think about it as physical. Stress can also lead to physical um, disease. These emotional states, such as boredom and depression and anxiety, those are emotional states. Those can also set the stage of physical disease through lowering the body's resistance. The same feelings can also lead to abuses like smoking, excessive alcohol or drug use, and overeating. These symptoms and behaviors represent only the tip of the iceberg. They are the surface indicators of underlying human needs for such things as recognition from others, a stimulating environment, caring and affection from friends, a sense of purpose. There's that purpose and meaning like I was talking about before, and self acceptance. So there's underlying needs that need to be addressed here. And that's what wellness really looks at. Doesn't just scratch the surface, it goes deep down. Maybe you've seen that picture, and I've got it, I think, in one of these slides of an iceberg, right? So the disease is like that tip of the iceberg that you see sticking out of the water. But what you can't see is some of these underlying human needs that need to be addressed, like recognition from others, like a stimulating environment, like a caring and affection from friends, like a sense of purpose and a sense of self acceptance. Those are the underlying needs. Those are the needs that need to be addressed. And so diseases and symptoms are not really the problem. They're actually the body, mind, spirit attempt to solve a problem. They're a message from the subconscious to the conscience. Much of contemporary medical practice is involved with chipping away at surface needs. Its orientation is towards treating and eliminating the evidence of disease, and this is important, but it's not enough. It needs to go deeper. It's essential to look below the surface signs to address the real needs. Those are some of the needs that we just talked about there, that we just looked at: recognition from others, stimulating environment, caring and affection from friends, a sense of purpose and self acceptance. And so here we see a good definition of wellness. And we'll end with this because I don't like overloading, the audience. Just give them a little bit at a time. We can begin to understand really what wellness is. And so here's a good definition to end with here. Wellness extends the definition of health to encompass a process of integration characterized by awareness, education, and growth. And so that's what I like to do with practicing the pause here. I call it EAT. EAT, EAT stands for education, awareness, and tools. And so I like to use education. I like to bring awareness, and I like to give some tools and practical tools that we can use to apply what we're learning here. And so hopefully you have learned something here today, and maybe you'll begin making some changes, maybe pursuing some things that you'd like to pursue. Like I said, wellness is not static; it's a journey. And so we want to move towards wellness. We're either moving towards two directions. We're either moving away from wellness or moving towards wellness. And so we'll look at some more of these things as we move forward, and hopefully you'll continue to move forward towards wellness each Wednesday here, practicing the pause. And so I hope that you have learned something here today, and use that comment box. You can use that comment box and chat along as you're watching this video, and maybe some of the ideas that's come to your mind, or something that's really stuck out. Use that comment box there, and just let others know that what you're learning here and that you see valuable. You really value what you're learning here. You can also write us there at the Recovery Center. You can write me at the Recovery Center. The email address is on there, and so is our information there at the Recovery Center. And so pursue those ideas. Maybe you've had some ideas today. Pursue them and watch as your wellness journey continues to unfold. Well, I hope that you all have a good rest of your Wellness Wednesday, and thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you again next Wednesday from 2 to 3 for Practicing the Pause with Phil. See you, everybody. Have a good day.